The following program is a production of Pioneer Public Television.
In this episode of Postcards,
the basic premise of the show is to take people who have some Norwegian ancestry, but who have never been to Norway, bring them to Norway and put them through challenges to show which one of them is the most Norwegian.
The winner gets to meet their Norwegian living relatives, which is a very nice prize.
I was blessed enough to actually go to the place where my family originates from. And this wasn't something that we all got to do, but I was fortunate enough to.
The Norwegians were pretty well amused. They had never witnessed lefse being made. So in some ways, it's like a forgotten art.
This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yekel Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflection Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota, a relaxing vacation or great location for an event. Explore alex.com. Easy to get to, hard to leave.
join us for the Great Norway Adventure as we follow Amy Hestnes from Moorhead, Deb Reberg from Dawson, and Grant Ossing from Alexandria as they explore Norway and face challenges on the Norwegian TV show Alt for Norge.
My name is Deb Reberg, and I live here in Dawson. And I'm an insurance agent for Farmers Union Insurance. I really do like my job, but I did appreciate the fact that there was an opportunity in the local paper asking if anyone had any Norwegian heritage.
My name is Amy Hestnes. I grew up here in Moorhead, Minnesota, and I work with children at a center, and I nanny on the side. My mother is Norwegian, Swedish, and German, and my father is African American. So I'm a quarter Norwegian, and I got to go to Norway to learn about my heritage and try to meet my family.
I'm Grant Ossing. I've been pastor at Shalom Lutheran Church for 11 and a half years now. It was December 2008, after Christmas, I think, when the Minneapolis Tribune had a short article saying they were looking for contestants on the Great Norway Adventure. And I read that and I thought, that sounds like fun.
This is something I did for the reality show Alt for Norge, and they came out and they were really excited for me to make lefse in my office too. It seems as though the Norwegians were pretty well amused that I made lefse, and they were fascinated by the fact they had never witnessed lefse being made. So in some ways, it's like a forgotten art. And sang a little ditty. I think it was to make fun of lefse making, because over in Norway, a lot of the lefse is in packages like the Ole and Lina lefse. They had me sing a little song with the lefse, and then they called me Sexy Lefse, which I don't see anything very sexy about Lefse, but I think it was their little joke. Because I sang it to She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy. And so it kind of went like this. He thinks my Lefse's sexy. I keep a-rolling it out. He thinks my Lefse's sexy. I keep a-rolling it out. Something like that. Anyway, pretty silly. Alt for Norge wanted me to promote myself and have a send-off for myself to Norway.
What a way to make a living.
Nearly everyone in Dawson are of Norwegian heritage. That's why they're so excited about me going to Norway. And we had a lot of Dawsonians that came out because Dawson is warm. I mean, people support each other, and if they know that there's something that's going on and they love Norway and the heritage that we support, so that was kind of neat.
I actually found out about Alt for Norge through a friend. She found out about the show, and she was back for Thanksgiving and was telling me about it. And I was like, joking, oh, I should audition for the show too since I'm Norwegian. She goes, you should. We should do a joint audition. So we auditioned together, and I got callbacks. And 2 weeks after callbacks, I found out I was on it. It was crazy. I couldn't even believe it.
And I showed it to my wife, and I said, that looks like fun. And then she showed it to my daughter, Marit. And she came and said, Dad, you would be great. And I think, yeah, right. So Marit downloaded the application off the internet and handed me the forms, asked me to write out my answers. She typed them in, sent them in. But the main part of the application process required a 5-minute introduction video. Hello, I'm Grant Ossing from Alexandria, Minnesota. So we took our camera down to Big Ole and went across the street to the Runestone Museum and showed that. And then went to our home where we have all kinds of Norwegian decorations and artifacts, and we sang some Norwegian songs. Jeg så glad ved julekveld. My whole family did that, and just sent it in. And I thought, wasn't that a nice father-daughter project? We'll never see anything of it. And then all of a sudden, we get these emails from a casting company in Chicago saying, would you keep the first weekend in March open? We might want to interview. And then they made plane arrangements. And they just sat me down in front of a camera, and there were 3 Norwegians and this American casting agent. And they just asked me questions, and I was just answering the best I could. And after I'm done, Joan O'Connor, the head of the O'Connor Casting Company, comes up to me and says, you were great. And I thought, well, what does that mean? Do you just say that to everybody? You know, I didn't know that. A week later, they told me, you're on the show. And it was like, you got to be kidding. So that's how I got on Alt for Norge.
I Alt for Norge gir vi 10 norsk-amerikanere en sjanse til å få sin største drøm oppfylt. Men først må de vise seg verdige til å bli kalt nordmenn.
Welcome to Norway! So the show is about us taking Norwegian Americans back to Norway to discover more about the Norwegian roots and their Norwegian heritage and the culture they came from, and also how the culture in Norway is today. So the winner gets to meet their Norwegian living relatives, which is a very nice prize.
You'll be competing to connect with your Norwegian roots and to win back your Norwegian family. And we've found them all. They're out there somewhere, just waiting for one of you to claim them.
When Henrietta told us that they had found our ancestors, I was very excited. My parents tried to go to Norway and find them and never did, so I thought it was kind of a hopeless cause. But they said, we've found everyone's relatives, so somebody out there in Norway is related to me. And I think my whole family would get so excited if they could find out who those people were.
Look at how handsome Grandpa is. My Norwegian heritage comes from my grandfather on my mom's side. Did Grandpa have any Norwegian traditions?
Always the lutefisk and lefse.
which I don't like.
Looking at me, you wouldn't think I was Norwegian. I am a quarter Norwegian, and my father is African American, so I'm half African American. What do you think they're going to do when they see me?
They're going to embrace you with love like we do.
If I meet my Norwegian relatives, I'm excited to see what their faces are going to look like when they realize they have me for a relative. I'm sure I'm not what they're expecting. Bye, Grandma. But it'll be fun, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Your great Norwegian adventure starts right here and right now.
Yes.
Alt for Norge will be a tough journey, full of surprises and challenges. The first thing we have to deal with is your outfits and your suitcases, because they are not very compatible with Norwegian nature. So they have to repack into backpacks, and I recommend you to bring only the essentials, because you're going to carry the backpack for the rest of the journey.
Oh.
Good luck.
So I was in my red insurance business suit, and they said, okay, so now you can get down. And we had to change up on top of the mountain. There were no dressing rooms, no bathrooms. And it was, for me who have lived on the plain where a small hillock is somewhat strenuous to get over, well, you were going from rock to rock, and these rocks were not stable. And my knees started giving out on me, and I took quite a few falls on my keister. And I was thinking, you know, I'm going to break something soon. So I thought I could continue to take this because I was totally to the back of the pack, or I could say something. So I thought, you know, I really don't want to die on this trip. And I passed my backpack off to one of the crew and said, I need help. And so one of the lovely cameramen took my hand, and we went down the mountain. But this cameraman that helped me down the mountain, he needed his appendix removed the next day. So I think my joke is I broke a Norwegian.
The second week, then, we were off to be Norwegian farmers. So we went to the Norwegian countryside and lived on a farm that had been in someone's family for, I believe, 17 generations. In Norway, there is no such thing as a flat farm. I mean, every farm is on a hillside. My name, Åseng, means a mountain meadow. I mean, that could describe every farm I saw in Norway. There was no such thing as 40 acres on the flat ground anywhere. They took me aside and said, do you know this is the land your ancestors came from? And I thought, wow, I mean, that just hit me, because I had never thought of myself being connected to the land, the earth. I grew up in the suburbs of Minneapolis. And to think, I mean, you talk about roots. I mean, roots in the soil. This is the land. And I started looking around at this river that went through the land and these mountains, and I said, this is my idea of paradise. I mean, if I go looking for a place to vacation or camp, I would think this is exactly what I look for. And I thought, you know, it's in my blood, it's in my bones. I mean, I can't think of anything more gorgeous.
I was blessed enough to actually go to the place where my family originates from. And this wasn't something that we all got to do, but I was fortunate enough to.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I have a little surprise for you.
Okay.
Since your last name is Hestnes,
Yes.
we would like you to go and visit a place called Hestenesøyra.
Oh my goodness.
It's the place your ancestors came from.
That's crazy.
Yes.
It's not every day that someone gets this blessed.
I Sogn og Fjordane ligger det lille tettstedet Hestenesøyra. Det er her Amys slektninger bodde før de utvandret til Amerika.
It's kind of overwhelming knowing this is exactly where my family comes from. It's so beautiful here. Dear Amy, opportunity where you're standing now is an old small holding. Something very special happened on this exact spot in 1836. The townsmen were out fishing while the women tended to the homes. Your great-great-great-grandfather Rasmus Absolonsen Hessnes, only 4 years old, was playing in the yard. Suddenly, one of the women spots smoke and flames above one of the roofs. Panic spreads as flames rapidly engulf the wooden buildings. Both women and children make it to safety, but nobody is able to control or contain the fiery onslaught. Only 6 of the original 45 houses survived the fire, and the only consolation was that it claimed no lives. The entire homestead was destroyed, and its people suffered gravely. Now the already severe poverty here grew even worse. What they must have gone through with the fire. We didn't know why they left. When you go through something that painful, it makes sense. I wonder if this was on a structure of some kind before it burnt. Opperton has since then been restored, and as of today, it's the only remnant after the Great Fire of Hessnes in 1836. The small holding still belongs to your family. The fact that they still own the land is pretty awesome. It's hard to imagine I'm standing in the same spot as my great-great-grandfather. Growing up, being of a different race wasn't easy, and standing in the very spot where my family is from makes me feel okay about it. Makes me feel very much connected.
Growing up in Minnesota, my idea of Norwegian culture was that Minnesotans all understand this Norwegian stuff, that we all understand lutefisk and lefse and Sven and Ole jokes and Norwegian sweaters, and that we joke and laugh about Norwegian culture. And I thought that's sort of what everybody thought. On this television show, they brought 3 of us, I believe, from Minnesota onto the show, 4 of us. But the other 6 contestants weren't from Minnesota, and several of them had no concept of anything about Norway. They didn't know about Norwegian sweaters, they didn't know about the Norwegian accent, they didn't know Norwegian food, and that's what made me realize that most of the people in the United States who have Norwegian ancestry don't live in Minnesota and really don't know much about their heritage. And this show really played that out.
It's interesting for you Americans, and it's also interesting for Norwegians to see different perspectives of how Norwegians are. So our Norwegian American contestants get to learn a lot about how we were, how Norway came about, and how Norway were when their ancestors actually emigrated from Norway, and also how it is today. So we give them several different challenges, and some are more serious, some are very humoristic. It's very diverse.
The basic premise of the show is to take people who have some Norwegian ancestry, but who have never been to Norway, bring them to Norway and put them through challenges to show which one of them is the most Norwegian.
Prepare yourselves to experience life in the Norwegian wilderness.
All right.
It's time for this week's team competition. The 2 teams will have to go through a cross-country race with 3 challenges.
And this challenge was to go canoe across a lake and then build a campfire from scratch, using only little tinder sticks, sparking sticks, and then answer some questions about Norwegian cabin life. So we got in these little fiberglass canoes that were really tiny. I thought they were kind of like almost toy things. I've canoed in Minnesota before. I know what a good canoe is. These were not good canoes. And the problem was there were 3 of us in each canoe on our team. And in our team was Joseph, who went to the University of Minnesota Morris and played lineman in the football. He is about 6'8", 6'9", 335 pounds. And we had gone no more than 10 yards from shore when the canoe tipped, because Joseph, so muscular, top-heavy, he tried to, do this, and boom, the canoe went right over. So, the whole cameras had to stop, because this doesn't make good television if you can't even begin the contest. Well, there was a woman, Maya, who was the opera singer from Chicago, who had the Norwegian Spirit Award that week, which meant she had immunity, didn't have to participate. They asked her, would you take Joseph's spot and just be the duffer for that team? Maya, I'm afraid we're going to have to call you back into the team here.
Okay, no way can you do this,
Yeah, I think it makes more sense for you to do this
if you're able to. Way too unstable. So.
Okay.
If I was in there, my team would not make it across the lake. They'd probably be in the middle of the lake swimming for their lives. So being on the sidelines didn't feel too good, but I knew my team had a better shot without me.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Set, go!
Come on, Team Blue! Let's go!
Padling viser seg å være en utfordring for begge lag, og de må ta hele Bjørnsjøen til hjelp på veien over.
It was very windy out there, and that made it extra challenging. Once we got our balance and kind of figured out a rhythm, it went pretty well.
I stepped in for Joe, and it turns out it was better with me. You know, it stabilized the boat, and I guess I wasn't so, you know, incompetent as everyone had hoped I was.
We got over there in a good time. We beat the other team over there. It went surprisingly well.
You said we're flying, Doug.
Sorry, Maya.
This way. Here. There's our blue thing.
Let's go quick, guys. Oh my God, is this Flint?
Gas?
No, that's water!
Oh, shoot.
The very first thing Maya did is she picked up the kettle of water and started pouring it on our wood, and I could not believe what she was doing. Maya! She thought it was gasoline, that they're going to give us gasoline to start our fire.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I started pouring it. They're like, no! So I'm glad they did. Otherwise, it would have been sopping wet.
I've never used this. Have you?
Yeah, we don't have
Just try, quick! Do it!
Oh, yeah.
We got to start getting some tips. This leaf is dry enough or not?
Well, we need to have.
We shouldn't have poured water on this stuff to begin with. That was a mistake.
Not bad.
That's all right. We'll make it.
This?
Does that stuff burn?
I'm gonna try it.
Oh, it does. Oh, yes. Yes.
Can I look at my...
Maya came with her moss, and it started right away. And it's like, oh, the magic secret. That was a lot of fun. Because I thought we would be there all day trying to start a fire. You're doing great, Maya. For the first time, huh?
Thank goodness they know what they're doing.
Yeah, you found the right stuff. You found the trick. Well, our team was way ahead of the other team. In fact, we beat them across the lake in the canoe. They never got a fire started. So they actually, the TV team had to cheat. They had to actually let them light the fire and gave them a 10-minute penalty just so that there'd be a show.
Here? I don't know anything about Norwegian cabin life at all, so I think those questions are going to be really tough. Should we go? Why do we hang the horseshoe this way and not the other above the cabin door? Is it to prevent evil from dipping out of it? Is it to prevent luck from running out? Or is it to prevent trolls from coming in? Knowing that everything's trolly, or I'd say trolls, but I have no idea.
Well, the questions were ridiculous. We had no clue how to answer any of those questions. The very first question, each of us had a different answer.
Does anyone think it's evil?
I do, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh, I think it's trolls, you think it's luck, and we think it's evil.
So we just made the best guess we could.
How many Norwegian households own or have the use of a cabin or summer?
I'd say
33.
33.
I'd say 33.
33. Let's do it. What's a Norwegian cabin penetration?
I'd say pine.
It's so American.
Are we done? Getting our boat?
Here we go!
It's a little frustrating to be on the side, watching my team and knowing that their performance is going to affect me as far as me having to go into the elimination challenge.
Can you see who it is?
I don't know. It looks like Doug.
Yes, doesn't it? I think it is.
Team Blue.
The longer we don't see him, the better for us.
And we got our fire going thanks to Maya, who's never started a fire before, found the stuff that the Flint got going.
Found the moss.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come here.
Who's your mama?
I totally have to eat my words about not wanting Maya on the team. She was flawless. She was great. She was positive energy. She was really, really good team trooper. So, yeah, totally eat my words. It was so great to have her on the team.
We both owe you an apology. We both said we thought we were lucky that you were the one who had the short straw.
Oh, I totally take it back.
Take it back all the way. You were the one.
You were.
They stepped in and I stepped up. I think I did a good job. And that made me feel good.
Come on, guys.
You can do it. You can do it. You're gonna try. Come on. Let's go.
Good job, Unicorn.
I was very excited. They just came in. But then again, they had the questions. So just got to sit and wait and see what happens.
Blue team, you crossed the finish line first, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are the winners. I have now corrected all the answers from the Norwegian quiz, and I've added 5 minutes for every wrong answer. And I will now read you the right choices. The reason that we hang the horseshoe this way is because we want to prevent luck from running out. And approximately 55% of Norwegian households own and or have the use of a cabin or a summer house. And Norwegian cabin furniture is usually made of pine. A flag flown at full mast at a Norwegian cabin means that someone is present. Norwegians burn 190,000 tons at their fireplaces. Both teams had 2 wrong answers and 3 correct answers. The winners are Team Blue!
Yeah!
Cinco de Mayo is equivalent to the 4th of July. It's their Independence Day.
We were able to walk right underneath the king, queen, and their family in the palace and wave at them, so they were within hailing distance.
So I go sailing across this glacier, with these dog sled, and that was just easy.
This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yackel-Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflection Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota, a relaxing vacation or great location for an event. Explore Alex.com. Easy to get to, hard to leave.